Hello. Big news from our friends over at DistroKid. They now have an app. This app works on iOS and Android, of course, and it's available in the Apple Store and Google Play stores and all the stores where you buy apps. Go check it out. It's got a lot of cool features. You can upload new releases. You can get notified when you've earned royalties. Awesome. You can withdraw from the app via push notifications. A little dangerous for me, but rad. Anyways, go check it out. It's all at distrokid.com/app. And don't forget, you can still get 30% off your DistroKid account by going to distrokid.com/VIP/tour stories. Have a great one. We would like to celebrate our friends and supporters over at isotope.com, fine makers of audio software for repair, mixing, and mastering. You know their goods: RX10, Neutron 4, Ozone 11, Nectar 4. Chris and I love them, we use them, and we know you'll love them too. And right now they're having a New Year's sale on many of their software bundles. Go to isotope.com and check it all out. And use code RUIN10 when you check out to get your discount. Again, it's izotope.com. And enjoy. Hey, David.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
Where are you?
I'm currently in my studio in my basement in Los Angeles.
There's basements in Los Angeles?
This is a rare find, really. It's like the property the house is on a big slope. So by the time you're in the back of the house, there's like a not legal
I got you.
Under the main floor basement situation.
Right. No, that's legal.
That's in LA, it's legal.
Yeah. I don't want to jinx you, but I honestly, as soon as you said that, I know two people with basements in LA, and every time it rains, they're so fucking stressed.
It hasn't been a problem here, but I did once have the hot water heater is right next to the studio, and it did explode once.
Yeah.
And that was a nightmare.
Water in studios, no good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're in Los Angeles. Is that where you live now?
I live in LA,
mm-hmm.
Originally an East Coaster, but I've been here for 9 years.
Oh, okay.
Almost to the day, actually.
Yeah, from what I understand, you grew up on the East Coast, as you just said. But your music, to me, if I just heard your music, I'd be like, that's a West Coast guy.
I think my soul was yearning for it my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you grew up in Jersey?
Grew up in Jersey, school upstate, lived in New York City a long time.
What was your experience with music growing up? Like, performing, your scene, or studying music, whatever you did?
Yeah. I started playing drums when I was 11. That's still the main instrument. And then, I lived in a suburb of New York City. So by the time I was a teenager, I was going into the city to see mostly concerts, not a lot of, indie rock shows or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then the scene where I was growing up in Bergen County, New Jersey, was a lot of pop punk, ska, stuff that I definitely experienced and enjoyed some of, but was never really my thing.
Yeah.
I still like a lot of that stuff. Just I was never really entrenched in the scene like some other people I grew up with were.
Yeah. I'm envious of being able to go into New York City so easily. I would have loved to grow up near New York City. You said you went to concerts, and that means bigger shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What'd you see? What was significant back then?
The first concert I ever saw when I was 12 was Beastie Boys.
Oh my Lord.
And Tribe Called Quest opened.
Jeez.
And that just like blew open the doors. I think yeah, that was their Hello Nasty tour, and then they were doing it in the round. And then I think I saw a concert every week of my high school career since then, or even that was middle school actually.
Right.
So, and I still have an older brother.
Yeah.
So that was a good resource to have someone,
of course,
to drive you in or to chaperone you, as it were.
Yeah, that's great. Give your parents. I had not an older brother, but I had an older friend who took me from the East Bay suburbs into Berkeley to go to shows. And this older friend my parents really liked. He was like this older kid in my high school, but for some reason my parents trusted him. rightfully so. He took care of me.
Yeah.
And took me to Operation Ivy shows, for Christ's
Oh
sakes.
my God.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a band I would have loved to have seen.
yeah. Not bad. Not
Yeah, I
bad.
bet.
Well, we're here to talk about this new record of yours. Don't Take Your Heartache Out on the World. I listened to it all weekend. I traveled all weekend, and I listened to it on the plane. I love it. And I'm probably going to say this a million times, but there's something about it. This word confident kept coming up. And it's just the performance and the delivery about it. It's so rich and confident. I don't know what else to say. That's really my first thought about it. And sound wise, it's really a lush kind of rock record. I hear a lot of kind of sub genre rock, but I think it's your production that makes what I see as influences really cohesive. What would you attribute this cohesion to?
That's a great question. It's hard to sort of reconcile the sort of disparate influences and sort of genres you were talking about, and it's hard to explain it in a way where it sounds like it could possibly be cohesive.
Right.
But I had a great co-producer, and we would develop these songs in the studio. It's not like I had a band with a rehearsal space to like sort of work out the kinks. And I think we were just always mindful of, can this song go next to this song? Is there a world where these two can coexist?
Right.
Instead of just making some random tracks and throwing them on an album together, we were always sort of considering that. And in fact, certain songs didn't make it onto the record for that reason.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And so at some point in your life, you went from just being in a band and being a songwriter, and you went into production and engineering. I assume. I want to hear a little bit about that path, and also I want to hear about when you embarked on this record. At this point in your career, do you approach a record as a producer? Like, are you chasing a sound maybe that you've been interested in all year, or do you still go down the songwriting path? But first, let's hear a little bit about your producer world.
Yeah, so I started writing songs in my teens, and then I think it was my freshman year of college where I got an M-Box, to date myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a very early version of Pro Tools, but an early enough version of Pro Tools. So I did a lot of dorm room recording, and I took it everywhere with me, every vacation. And my knowledge of Pro Tools was very rudimentary. And I guess when I was a sophomore in college, YouTube had started becoming a resource. So anything I wanted to learn how to do, it was starting to become available that I could figure things out. But then I continued to write and always saw the recording that I was capable of as a means to get down ideas, demos, etc. And it wasn't until working in a studio where the engineering and production love really blossomed. I always thought I didn't want to work in a studio because, if you're working on someone else's music from 10 to 10, the last thing you want to do is go home and write or work on your own stuff. But I actually found it really inspiring, and you learn something every day, and you could take that into your own stuff. So,
what studios did you jump into when you were starting?
Yeah, the only studio I ever worked at in New York, which is where I really learned how to do everything, was called Oscilloscope.
Oh, no one's ever heard of that. Tell us about it. I'm just kidding.
Well, for those who don't know, it was the late Adam Yauch's recording studio of the Beastie Boys. So this is a band name that will likely come up throughout the conversation.
That's great.
Yeah.
How was it working there? I mean, it must have been because there's the film production, I'm assuming, in the same building.
Yeah. So that's how it happened. I was working at his distribution company, and the recording studio was across the hall. And I left the distribution company for another job, and then wasn't really happy there. So then asked the head engineer, whose name is Andre Kelman, who's amazing, if I could assist. And by that point, since I had worked at the film side, I built up some rapport and some trust. And I don't think I'll just let anybody in there.
Right.
And was lucky enough to get the okay. And he taught me most of the stuff I know on the best gear. And the first session I ever worked was John Spencer Blues Explosion.
Oh,
it's just
my
like
Lord.
throw it into it. Yeah, it's crazy. It was
Oh.
like pretending to know what the names of microphones were. I had no idea what was going on.
That's great. So, and back to this record, you touched a little bit on it earlier, but do you ever approach creating a record with just a production idea, sound?
Usually not. Usually the song is written first. There are a couple instances where I'll stumble on a groove or something in the studio and I'm tinkering, and that'll develop into something.
Yeah.
But the more traditional songs are definitely written on piano or guitar beforehand, and then sort of dressed up in whatever ways they're dressed up in.
Right. Well, there's the single that's out, Red Front Door. I know why that song's a single. I kept going back to it because I try not to find. I try to hide the single from myself and see what I go back to. I was right this time, and it's a hooky number, I gotta say. And the way I'm interpreting the lyrics is very interesting to me. I don't know that I've ever heard this version of, a life, and I will interpret it. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems to be touching on a fracturing relationship. There's some infidelity, but they're still together.
Yes, you nailed it.
It's a really interesting section of life that actually probably occurs, unfortunately, more than people like to admit.
Yeah, remorseful infidelity.
Yeah.
I'd like to add not autobiographical.
Are you sure?
I assure you. Yeah. It's not that exciting over here.
It's an exciting song. Well, to that, I'd like to play Red Front Door. Is that cool with you?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go.
I can't help their inviting glances, but I'm trying hard as I can to stop these hands from shore advances and put to death the ladies' man. I'll be leaving here after breakfast. I'll think about it on the train. Come home and pick up where I left us and give her nothing to explain. I can't live this way no more. She keeps a candle burning by the red front door. I can't live this way no more. She falls asleep and waits for me to come in through the red front door. Now I can hear the whistle blowing. I can feel the trembling. She never asked me where I'm going, and I don't tell her where I've been. Red front door, red front door.
Love it. Wonderful song, man.
Thank you.
And I want to dig in a little bit. You say you have a co-collaborator, and I always want to talk a little bit about the studio experience of making the record. You said it was just two people?
Well, it was two people sort of in the cockpit, and then we have a real array of people coming in to do the various things that we're just not capable of. So on Red Front Door, for example, even there's hand percussion.
Yeah.
That was played by Fredo Ortiz Jr., formerly the Beastie Boys percussionist.
Yeah, I know.
I think now with Los Lobos. We've had some just guitar shredders come in, a lot of backup and lead vocalists, a lot of bass players. But yeah, there are some tracks that are entirely me and Andrew Lappin, who is my co-producer.
And are you multi-instrumental?
Yeah.
And do you play a lot of the drums?
I play all the drums.
Oh, you do?
That's still my my number one instrument. I'm starting to practice again, even though I don't play drums out. I'm like, I should get good again.
You're good.
Thank you.
There's some technical stuff on this record too. There's all these little, like, I think a couple times they function as bridges, but they're like shreddy guitar parts or like weird time signature bridges and stuff, and it's pretty exciting.
Thank you.
Keeps the listener going.
It might sound like we're very good, but we're very good at editing.
And the other thing that I noticed just with all your recordings and all your records is that you seem to have no fear of collaboration. And I happily discovered your Fat Tony collaborations because I love him.
He's the best.
I've hung around him a few times. He's friends of friends. I'd like to hang around him more, but those are great. Also on this record, you have quite a few collaborators and guest singers, etc. What do you find valuable about collaborating with people versus, kind of taking it all on yourself?
I think it's twofold, really. I think one side of it is that historically I've been known to be a control freak, and sort of allowing Andrew, my co-producer, into this world was a big it was like a musical trust fall sort of thing.
Yeah.
And just having more people come in, it just turned out to be something that is probably just good for me in general. Let you do your thing, and then whatever we get. And I'm sure it'll be great because I trust the person doing it. Now that I'm allowing myself to trust them, it feels really good. And then the other thing is just that in the case of guest vocalists, there are just some things that feel like, even though I've written them, should not be delivered from my perspective. So there's a song in the album that's the next single coming out called Lovebird, which is the only song on the record that's entirely sung by someone other than myself. And I tried to sing it and it didn't feel right to deliver those words.
Was that tough to do that?
No, honestly.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think I expected it would be tough, and then the second it started happening, I was like, this was the right decision. And it's also just, a full day of vocals where I don't have to hear myself singing.
Yeah.
Which is always just it's like the worst, most tedious part of recording is getting the vocals down. So I was like, I can just be on the other side of the room for this,
I've recorded myself singing. I could probably count on one hand. All I end up doing is messing with reverbs. And I'm like, I can't. Not even a reverb can help me.
Yeah.
But we're two different worlds. I can't sing. You can sing wonderfully.
You have a very soothing interview voice, though.
Let's apply that to lead vocals somehow. Shatner style or something.
I would love that.
Well, again, congratulations. And Lovebirds is the next single? When's that one coming out? Do you know?
June 21st.
June 21st.
Yeah, June 21st.
Awesome. How was it having Sweeney play on the record?
Oh my God.
What a rad dude. I don't know him, but he's a rad dude.
He is the raddest dude.
Yeah.
That was sort of a Hail Mary. Because I had worked with him a few times at Oscilloscope and had his number and his email. and we had kept in touch a little bit. I haven't really spoken to him in a long time, but it was like, we need a guitar solo on this. We need some lead. I was like, let me write the Hail Mary and see what happens. He got back to me. I was like, holy shit, this is actually going to happen. And I recorded it because he lives in New York.
Yeah.
Went back to Oscilloscope at the time when we did it there, just the one solo.
Great.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, just one solo with Sweeney at Oscilloscope. Mm-hmm. That's charmed life.
I've been very lucky. Yeah.
One last thing I want to talk about is combing through, all things D.A. Stern. I notice you have a dynamic visual component to yourself. Mm-hmm. Chameleon-esque maybe, but it really, like, you don't notice it at first, and then I just started noticing it. Your video applied to your videos as well, but I really like it, and I'm wondering how conscious that is, and if that's something, do you have a visual art background or anything like that?
There is no visual art background over here. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. The first concert I ever went to was when I was 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. For a lot of other people, I feel like that's actually kind of late. Mm-hmm. The thing I grew up with most, my parents didn't have a ton of music in the house. They had some, but there was always movies on. And always comedy record. Like, I was listening to things I should not have been listening to in the comedy world when I was way too young.
So was I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The glory days. And I think the sort of like comedic element of the videos and has also sort of seeped into the music. And that's just I think that's my first love, really, despite having no professional pursuit of that whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm with you. Mel Brooks for me.
Oh my God. I mean, that is the password on my computer.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you're wearing it on your sleeve. It was kind of a subtle thing that I noticed, and I was like, oh, it's cool. It seemed to simplify it. It seems really fun.
It's fun. I want to do a lot of different things, even at the risk of abandoning my core, as it were. Yeah.
And one of your videos, I really laughed out loud. I think you're a private detective, and you just mumble a couple things. You're on the LA River, I'm assuming, and it's just fucking funny. It's really funny.
That's the Fat Tony track.
Oh yeah, that's what it is,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep it all going, man.
Thank you.
And are you gonna hit the road with this action?
I have one release show scheduled for September 16th at Zebulon. Mm-hmm. The record comes out the 13th. No other touring plans at the moment, but I am hoping to get that all in the books soon.
All right. And I'm assuming full band?
Full 7-piece.
Oh, whoa. That's serious.
E Street style.
Yeah. Are you working on anything else right now, production-wise?
I've been working with a few bands, and then I'm always down here throwing new D.A. Stern stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, but it's been a slow process.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep doing it, man. Do it all. Change your clothes, make songs, walk your dog. Your dog looks like an exact medium version of my dog.
The dog is no longer my dog.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But the dog is very much still in my life. Okay. It's a long story.
Yeah.
for part 2, I think.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you get out there traveling, travel safe, and congrats on this record. Good luck with the show at Zebulon. If I'm in LA on September 13th, I'm going to walk into Zebulon and say hi to you and listen to your concert.
Please do. It's a free show, but I'll put you on the list.
Oh, that I need to be on the list, whether it's free or not.
Absolutely.
And if it's a benefit, I still need to be on the list. Kidding. All right, man. Take it easy.
You match gifts. All right, Joe. Thanks so much.
Right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.